Alright, welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice. It's time to get back to this prize deck. Oh, here we go. This is the Captain Nagathrid deck. And wasn't sure where to start with this, so let's start with what's coming out of the deck first. For the first time in forever, I actually decided that there were too many lands in the deck. So I started by removing 2 islands and 2 swamps. To be fair, I'm replacing them with other lands, but yeah, there's plenty of land in this deck, which is kind of a surprise and something you normally don't see in pre-constructed decks. The next thing to look at with this deck is the fact that there are horrors. They really did a good job of putting horrors in this deck, except no, it's not a good job. They jammed every single horror card they could in here, whether it belonged there or not. So I'm going to go through the horror cards that were removed. As far as the cards that were removed, we're going to start with a Night Howler. I do like the bestow mechanic. It's a fun one that is has potential, but it just doesn't fit here because you're looking at graveyards, and in fact, if you're going to stick with the captain's main strategy, you're going to remove things from decks, from graveyards rather. So it seems at cross purposes. Alright, so we get rid of that one. The Dross Harvester, 4/4 for 3, sounds okay on the surface, protection from white, but you lose 4 life at the beginning of your end step. Who wants that? Who has time for that? Why would you bother with that? Whenever a creature dies, you gain 2 life. These are not the strategies that we're leaning into for the captain deck here. Dahadi Horror. Shadow. Okay, that's great. Can't be blocked by creatures with, let's see. Got to read the card, explains the card, right? This creature can't be blocked by only creatures with a shadow. And it says it can't be blocked by white creatures. Like, yeah, but no. We've got to have something better to stick in there. The Plague Spitter, I like the artwork on the Plague Spitter. It's kind of funny to me. I'm not sure why. 3 mana for a 2/2. It does 1 damage to each creature and player. When it dies, it does 1 damage to each creature and player. Not strategies that we're leaning into. Sucks that the Gardener's starting up right now. I don't know. Super freaking lame. I am going to resume taping momentarily here. At least he's moving to the back of somebody's house, so maybe it's a little bit better now. Dark Hatchling. Okay, 6 mana for a 3/3 body. Get to destroy a creature when it comes into play, but not for 6 mana. Not worth it. We've got to replace that with something that's a little bit more synergistic. The Brain Stealer Dragon. 7 mana for a 6/6. Lots of text. I'm not going to bother reading it. It's out. Nithrid. 6 mana again for a 4/4. Text. Not going to read it. It's out of here. We want this deck to play a little bit lower, a little bit closer to the ground. I'm not putting just nutty combos in here. I tried to grab a half a dozen, or rather a dozen cards that I think are going to have bitter impact. As a matter of fact, one more horror. Another 7 mana for a Dusk Mangler. You got to sack a card, discard a card, or pay 4 life. There's enough good creatures that you shouldn't be having these kind of drawbacks, so get that out of here. Another card that I love, it's a pet card of mine. It's one of my favorites, Psychosis Crawler. Doesn't fit the deck though, right? I mean, you're going to be pulling things out of graveyards. You're going to, your hand size ideally, I'm going to say your hand should be empty or close to empty. I don't like the idea of top decking every time, but if your commander's on the board and you've got him on the battlefield, you're going to be playing out other people's graveyards. I want you to have mana free to cast more spells. I don't want you worried about what you're holding in your hand. Crippling Fear, I'm just not a fan of it. -3 isn't a big enough, how should I put it? It's not a big enough, actually I think I'm going to replace it with a Mutilate. Let's just cut to the chase. Hex, I have never liked Hex as a card. 6 mana, destroys 6 target creatures. That's super, but honestly, you got to have 6 targets, and anybody can jack you up by getting rid of something or sacking something or doing something nutty. Not really worth it. In Garrick's Wake, another favorite of mine, but dude, let's be honest, 9 mana? There's got to be some other better removal than that. This deck I want a little bit lower to the ground and a more streamlined. So that's out of here. The final one is the Reflections. And I like the card. I like what it does. Honestly, I like it better in my Wizard deck. I like it in my Tribal Zombie deck. 5 mana to get it out. And what are you going to spend your mana on to get there? What other creature are you going to get? You're not going to have that much. I'm assuming that we're going to make it to turn... The game's going to end or close out by turn 10. That's an assumption. Because of that, it just doesn't feel right. So those are the cards that are out. Yeah. So that's what's out right now. We'll come back in just a few moments to tell you what's in. Alright, so the cards that are going in the deck. These are not 1-for-1, but I pulled out half a dozen cards, I pulled out a dozen cards, I'm going to put a dozen cards in. Firemind Vessel is one that's going in. A Mutilate instead of a Hex. Actually, I'm not going to say instead of, and let's be honest, you maybe don't agree with the choices that I'm making here. If that is the case, I'm going to be giving you all of these cards so you can put them back or change them out as necessary. You won. I think this is a fabulous prize. I hope you enjoy it. I also hope that you don't use it against me. You and I have played a few games now, and actually I'm getting off topic. What's going in this deck? Mutilate. That's what's going in the deck. A Mind Grind. You know, the fact that you can have opponents reveal cards from the top of their library until they reveal X land cards. Save this. Don't play this early game. Wait till your captain is on board, then save that. Same thing with Maddening Cacophony. You're going to wait until those are... actually, you're going to wait till you can get the kicker prey. So with Maddening Cacophony, you're going to wait until you can pay that kicker price, primarily. Cut Your Losses, another card that's going to be useful. Not going to worry about casualty, but target player mills half their library rounded down. That's some powerful effects. Winged Boots, it's going to be a way of being able to get a creature in there. Cheap to cast, cheap to equip, and let's be honest, with a ward of 4, it's going to be hard to get rid of. So, looking at the next thing, Drowned in Dreams. Another card that's going to cash in on what your commander can do. The fact that it's instant, also helpful. Getting into the creatures, a better... The heck was that? Despoiler of Souls is a better creature card to go in here, as is Sir Conrad. Sir Conrad the Grim, well, I mean, I don't have to tell you how to use that. You already know. But yeah, that makes a little bit more sense in this deck. A Faceless Butcher, going back to a bit of an older card. The fact that you pay 4 mana for a 2/3, but when he comes into play, remove target creature other than Faceless Butcher from the game. It's going to be handy. I like it better than, say, the Dark Hatchling or whatever we're replacing it with. Doomweaver, I think, is another fun addition to this deck. Again, I didn't strictly go straight for combo cards. I went for individual cards to bring the mana curve down in line a little bit better so that you're casting something, you're getting effect every time. Imperious Mindbreaker, a new card that I think makes sense in this deck. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong with everything I'm suggesting. If so, let me know in the comments below. A Changeling Outcast. Just the fact that it's a Changeling card and it can't be blocked, again, takes the place of the other creature that was in there that couldn't be blocked. 1 for 1/1 is definitely better, I think, for that. I put in Altar of the Brood. I threw in Evolving Wild, which maybe seems a little counterintuitive compared to what I'm always saying about no-tap lands. I honestly put it in just because I had it laying around and I thought it was like cool. And I'm going to be giving you all the cards, so again, feel free to swap that swamp back in there if you need to. And of course, since it is my gift to you, sprinkling a little bit of my spice in there, of course, we go with the Ether Hub and the Crumbling Visage, which are my two favorite cards. Land cards that come into play, don't have to come into play tapped, give you the mana you need when you need it. I have never, you've watched the channel, you know I said this before, I have never played a card and said, man, I'm glad that land came in tapped. Just doesn't happen. So the fact that Crumbling Visage comes in tapped, but it gives you the mana you need, stellar. Ether Hub giving you the, even though you never play, enchant, or rather you never play energy again, just it gives you that one when you really need it. That's what I think. So those cards are all going into this deck. It will be presented. I don't know when we're going to do another contest like this again. Hopefully you signed up for the contest, you enjoy the content that we have here, and you're going to be sticking with us. That's it for right now.